Hello everyone, it's Destiny, and today we'll be discussing Blade's kit, team synergies, builds, and my initial thoughts on his value. Before we get into today's video, I'd love to know which character you're the most excited for in version 4.3, and if you'd like to see some more Star Rail content from me, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like to support today's video, and now let's get straight into it. Let's begin with Blade's kit. Our new Blade will be a Fire Nihility character who can inflict numerous debuffs onto enemies, increase the team's damage, taunt enemies, and much more. Starting off with his basic attack, he has a normal basic attack and an enhanced basic attack. His normal basic attack will deal damage to one designated enemy and cause that enemy to enter the taunt state for a turn. As for his enhanced basic attack, it'll deal more damage. In order to use his enhanced basic attack or use his skill, you need to use Blade's ultimate. Blade's ultimate will inflict Balefire Bind to all enemies, and this will reduce all enemies' defenses and increase the damage enemies receive for 2 turns. Then Blade will consume a percentage of his HP to deploy a zone, and when this zone is active, Blade will enter the Infinite Fury state. Now, the Infinite Fury state will increase Blade's crit rate and crit damage, as well as enhance his basic attack, unlock his skill, and gain a new ultimate. Additionally, when receiving a killing blow, Blade will not be knocked down. Instead, he will dispel the zone and restore HP equal to 50% of his max HP. The Infinite Fury state will have a countdown that appears on the action order, and at the start of the countdown's turn, the zone will be dispelled, and Blade will exit the Infinite Fury state. Now, as for Blade's new ultimate, it'll deal damage equal to a percentage of his max HP to all enemies. Blade's ultimate being active is a crucial part of his kit, as it allows you to take advantage of more of his kit, and this also applies to his talent as well. When the zone is active, after each attack an ally uses on an enemy, it'll inflict the Balefire Bind state to that enemy and grants 1 charge to Blade. And when Blade reaches 9 points of charge and his current HP is more than 1, he will consume 9 charge, regenerate energy, and this enables Blade to use his skill 1 extra time. This extra skill will be considered as a follow-up attack. Now, as for Blade's skill, he'll consume a percentage of his max HP and deal fire damage to all enemies, and additionally deal 4 instances of damage to 1 random enemy. This skill does not consume skill points, and if Blade is not in the Infinite Fury state, he cannot use this skill. So you need to ensure Blade has his ultimate zone active in order to use his skill. A nice perk that Blade has though is that he can accumulate up to 80 overflow energy, and after using his ultimate, it'll clear and regenerate a corresponding amount of energy. And when the battle starts, or if his zone is dispelled, if his energy is below 75%, it'll immediately be regenerated to 75%, and when Blade's energy is regenerated to the maximum, all debuffs will be dispelled. It's also worth noting that when this zone is active, it'll increase Blade's chance of being attacked, decrease the damage taken, and increase incoming healing. On top of this, after being attacked, it'll also inflict the Balefire Bind state onto enemies and enable Blade to gain 1 charge. So essentially, Blade will gain charges from allies attacking enemies or from enemies attacking Blade, so a win-win overall for Blade. As for additional perks of the zone, when the zone is active, allies will deal increased damage, and if there are other Nihility characters aside from Blade in the team, the ultimate damage dealt by allies will increase. Otherwise, the damage dealt by Blade will increase. Lastly, Blade's technique will inflict taunt onto all enemies for a turn and decrease the damage taken by Blade for 2 turns. Overall, Blade provides great debuffs for the team, can deal considerable damage himself, and when it comes to Blade's team synergies, first up we have Acheron. Blade will easily be one of Acheron's best partners. He helps with charging up her ultimate, he boosts her ultimate damage, he nicely debuffs enemies, he can deal damage alongside her, and more. For the rest of the team, you can go with multiple options. For example, you can do Blade, Acheron, another Nihility character, and sustain. You could do Acheron, Blade, a Harmony character, then a sustain. There's also the option of Acheron, Blade, Ashveil. You can also consider sustainless. For the 3rd team slot, a character who can attack frequently will benefit Acheron and Blade, as frequent attackers will gain Blade more charge, and this will result in more stacks for Acheron's ultimate as well. Kirby can be a nice option as she deals frequent follow-up attacks and can help with getting more charge for Blade and more ultimate stacks for Acheron. Kirby will be able to provide ult-type res pen and inflict vulnerability onto enemies with her ultimate zone. Both further increase Blade and Acheron's damage output. As for Ashveil, he'll be able to deal follow-up attacks himself, debuff enemies, and also deal considerable damage himself. Now, when it comes to sustains, I would recommend sustains that can help with attacking frequency. You have quite a bit of options you can consider. For example, Hyacinth, Donhung PT, Lingsha for her follow-up frequency, Gallagher. You technically can use Preservation March, and so on. When it comes to sustain list, this would consist of replacing your sustain on the team with another support to further increase the damage output of the team. Blade being able to taunt enemies can be useful in the case of trying to go sustainless, as he is also HP scaling, so he will have a nice amount of HP. Of course though, if the fight is very long, then characters on the team can eventually go down. So it ultimately comes down on the length of the fight. And now when it comes to non-Acheron teams, you can use Blade as a duo with Ashveil, you can use Blade with Archer, you can use Blade with Jade, you can also use Blade with characters like Castorice, Evernight, there's Feixiao, and much more. Blade being able to reduce enemies' defenses, increase the damage enemies receive, increase ultimate damage dealt by allies if there's another Nihility character on the team, and so on, allows him to be a flexible option for teams, whether it be for a sustainless slot on your team or as a flexible third character on the team from what he provides. Overall, I'm pretty excited to be releasing Blade showcases for you all very soon, so if you'd like to see those videos, consider subscribing to the channel. Now when it comes to building Blade, for his relics, in version 4.3, we will have a new relic set Blade can use, which is the Master Smith set. This set will be one of his best sets. For alternative sets, you can also consider Eagle set, and if you don't have Eagle or Master Smith, there's also the option of Pioneer, Longevous, and so on. As for his Planars, you can use Bone Collection, Duran Dynasty, you can use a set like Wanwek, Lushaka, Penacony, and so on. Now, as for his main stats, I would recommend crit rate or crit damage body, speed or HP boots, HP or fire orb, and HP or energy regen rope. When it comes to his boots, I do personally prefer speed. As for substats, you would focus on crit rate, crit damage, speed, and HP. For his light cone options, you can use his signature, Lies Dance on the Breeze, Resolution Shines with Pearls of Sweat, Holiday Escapade, Along the Passing Shore, Good Night Sleep Well, Boundless, Choreo, and Before the Tutorial Mission Begins. Something to note though is that some of these light cones do have a base chance of inflicting a debuff, so if you don't have any effect hit rate, then the chance of this debuff happening will be lowered. So I thought I'd note that in regard to light cones that have a base chance of inflicting a debuff onto enemies. Now, when it comes to Blade's value, he's an excellent option for those who wish to improve their Acheron team, as he'll easily be one of Acheron's best partners who will nicely assist her playstyle. You can also use Blade with Ashveil, and as mentioned earlier, as a flexible option for numerous teams, and I'd love to know what you all think of Blade and if you'll be pulling. Lastly, if you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing to see some more content from me, leave a like to support today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.